Hi church family, for those that don't know me, my name's Lauren and I will be bringing today's devotion to you. When praying about what the Lord wants me to share with you today, He led me to one of my favourite passages, which comes from Exodus chapter 14. And today I'm going to be reading from verses 10 to 18. But before I read, just to give you a little bit of context about where I'm picking up from. As you know, the Israelites had been in slavery in Egypt, and despite Moses approaching Pharaoh and asking him to release his people, Pharaoh just was not budging. So the Lord sent 10 plagues, and it was only after the 10th plague, the final one, that resulted in Pharaoh's son dying, that Pharaoh eventually agreed to let the Israelites go free. And soon after that decision, as the Israelites were leaving Egypt, Pharaoh changed his mind and decided to pursue the Israelites. So reading from chapter 10, I'll be reading from an NIV version today. It says, "As Pharaoh approached, the Israelites looked up, and there were the Egyptians marching after them. They were terrified and cried out to the Lord. They said to Moses, 'Was it because there were no graves in Egypt that you brought us to the desert to die? What have you done to us by bringing us out of Egypt? Didn't we say to you in Egypt, leave us alone, let us serve the Egyptians? It would have been better for us to serve the Egyptians than to die in the desert.' Moses answered the people, 'Do not be afraid. Stand firm, and you will see the deliverance the Lord will bring you today. The Egyptians you see today, you will never see again.'" And here comes the promise in verse 14. "The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still." Then the Lord said to Moses, "Why are you crying out to me? Tell the Israelites to move on. Raise your staff and stretch out your hand over the sea to divide the water, so that the Israelites can go through the sea on dry ground. I will harden the hearts of the Egyptians so that they will go in after them, and I will gain glory through Pharaoh and all his army, through his chariots and his horsemen. The Egyptians will know that I am the Lord when I gain glory through Pharaoh, his chariots, and his horsemen." And as you know, the rest of the story unfolds where the Israelites walk through the Red Sea. However, the walls of water crash down on top of the Egyptians, killing them all. Now, I'm quite a visual person, and when I picture this little scenario, I think about what the Israelites must have felt in those moments leading up to the Red Sea actually opening up. They must have felt terrified. They must have felt completely just out of options. On one side, they were facing the Egyptian army, and on the other side, they were facing the Red Sea. They were facing just this body of water, and death to them must have felt like such a reality in that moment. They must have felt like there was no other option. And I just want to encourage you with that promise today that God will fight for you. We only need to be still. And sometimes we are so limited by the things that we see. We see our situations for what they are, and we feel trapped and we just don't see a way out. But God is always working. God is working when we cannot see it. He is fighting for us. He is in the battle for us, and He is going to make a way. And I really had on my heart people who are just feeling really fearful, especially financially in this time. I know that with the virus and people not being able to work, there are a lot of people who are just a little bit anxious about the months to come, knowing that their money will come to an end, not knowing if they have job security going back. And I just wanted to encourage you, don't be limited by what you currently see now, because God is making a way. I'm sure the Israelites did not anticipate God parting the ocean for them, the sea for them. But that is our God. He is working in ways that we cannot even comprehend and imagine. And He is going to do that for you and me and every other believer, because He loves us. And I just wanted to encourage you with a couple of my own testimonies in the finances way. So 3 years ago, I had my second child, and his name's Levi. And I was working full time up until that point. And I was planning on going back to full-time work. I was a teacher and I really loved my job, and I was coming to the end of my maternity leave, and I really felt like the Lord saying, I don't want you to go back to work. I want you to stay at home and serve the children, and that I must trust him and he will provide. And that was a really scary decision for us as a family to make, because it just didn't make financial sense. But the sense that I had in the spirit that this is what the Lord was telling us to do as a family, we decided to trust it and take a leap of faith. And I just wanted to give God all the glory, because now it's been just over 3 years and we have never ever been without. We have always had absolutely more than enough to still have a good quality of life and to do the things that we love. And the Lord has brought bits of work to me at the right time, but just he's brought finances and money out of the most bizarre places. There was one time where the bank contacted me to say that they owed me £50 because they had calculated my interest incorrectly. There was another time where my energy provider contacted me and said, you've overpaid £1,000, and they transferred it into our accounts. There was another time where our car company contacted us and told us that we had overpaid on our car, and they owed us £300. Like, God has just made money just appear in our accounts in the most strangest, most bizarre ways. People don't normally throw money at you, but God is always working, and it's not always just through physical money. He just stretches our budget. People bless us with meals and with looking after our children. He is just always looking after us. And I just want to encourage you today that no matter what circumstances you're facing, no matter what sea and whatever battles you see on the other side, God will make a way. God is fighting for you. You just need to trust. You just need to stand firm, stand on the hope, and in that knowledge that God is fighting for you. That is the promise that we are going to hold on to today. So God bless you all. I love and I miss every single one of you, and I cannot wait to be reunited again. Keep well, everybody. Bye.